This is CBT News, the voice of the retail automotive industry.
Hi everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick with CBT News. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today we're joined by Steven Stearns, who's used car manager at County Ford in Graham, North Carolina, and Nick Patterson, who's CEO and co-founder of VettX. I know that that's a company you've heard a lot about. These guys are doing some great things in the area of helping dealers to acquire used cars, which is front and center right now of every dealer's mind, right, Steven? Where do you get your used cars from and how quickly can you get them here? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think that's most everybody's first concern right now, or one of their tops, right, is how do you get used cars and where do you get them from? I think the answer to that is wherever you can.
That's right. Yeah, there's no real rule, is there?
That's right.
Yeah, and then of course Nick Patterson, talk to us a little bit about VettX. For those people that are not as familiar with your company as we are yet, maybe they haven't seen CBT News here in the last couple of weeks because we've been talking a lot about your company and the success that you're having. What solutions do you provide for dealers?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we help dealerships acquire additional inventory through the private party sector. So we help dealers get those vehicles that are around their surrounding market and help facilitate the transaction to the dealership so that they can have better quality inventory.
So talk to me, Nick, why is it important for this, for a dealer's bottom line with regard to acquiring cars from the outside?
Yeah, you know, in the private market, Bob and Larry are selling to themselves, and it's happening right in your backyard. So if you can attack those cars and get them to your dealership before that transaction takes place, it's going to help you, not only get more inventory, but also bring those people back to your dealership and sell them cars too.
Sure. And Steven, do you agree with what he just said on that? Is that pretty much the case out there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you want to have a good mix. I mean, traditionally, if good new car dealership, you're going to get a lot of their used car inventory is going to come from trade-ins. The rest you traditionally go to the auction. Mm-hmm. And so, when you're going to the auction, you're typically buying within brand. When you reach out to these private party customers, sometimes you're bringing on a mix that you haven't really looked at or before. So you kind of open up and you just create a little bit of excitement on the lot. And it can be a very time-consuming process for sure, mm-hmm. but with the right infrastructure and a good partner like VettX, they've really helped us grow, kind of walk, crawl, run with this thing to really get us going. And
sure, it's
been a great partnership so far.
That's awesome. What kind of an impact has it had in your overall success in your used car department?
Yeah, so like the past couple months, we've been able to have inventory and buy enough cars. I went to the auction today. I just got back and I bought 0 cars. The day before,
wow,
I bought maybe 3 or 4, but that takes a lot of time. You got to travel to the auction. You got time at the auction.
That's right. Meanwhile, you're not running your used car department back at the store, right?
Right. And so, right now the game is if you have inventory, you're winning, right? So the number one thing is get the car. So right now, if you can get the car, you can win. It's a time-consuming process. It takes a lot of interaction with the customer private party, but VettX is a good partner that can kind of help put all the pieces together for you. And we've been pretty successful with that, just having a good mix on the lot and having a full lot. I mean, I drive past other dealerships and they don't necessarily look full. If you're out of new inventory, then you got to get the used inventory. If prices are too high on the used, I mean, everybody knows the battle right now. So
yeah, for sure.
It's been very helpful. It's kept us going.
That's great. Nick, what does it take to be successful in this game?
It's pretty easy to get the ownership and the general managers bought into the idea that private party vehicles are out there. They're plentiful and a lot of transactions are taking place. It's really just getting the management bought into the philosophy, just like Steven was saying, making them realize that there is opportunity there. And yes, it can be a little bit time consuming, but when you look at what how much time you're spending at the auctions versus how much time you're spending in the private market, it really starts coming together to make sense.
Sure. Steven, do you take the same approach with these customers that come in from private party as you do on auction vehicles or trade-ins?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. We use basically the same parameters that if we were buying at the auction, but we can flex a little bit because it's a little bit different of a car too. I mean, there's some some cars that I may have a different exit strategy on one than another. One car I might buy just to make a profit in wholesale right now.
Sure.
Another car I might buy for the lot. So it's just finding out the right mix. I mean, you're going to have, I don't think it's a binary choice, auction or private party. I think you can, you want to do both, right? And so what it does is allow you to not be too dependent on one or the other, and always have a good mix and bouncing back and forth. And so it's been a good percentage for us, and it's been profitable for us. And we continue to expand all the different types of vehicles that we're looking at acquiring for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, I would imagine every customer too, not every customer, but a lot of the customers that you buy a car from there at the store, it's also a potential candidate for one of your products, right? Whether it be new or used cars.
Right? Yeah, they got to get something else. Yeah. That's
right. That's right. So they, a lot of people have been told along the way that the best way to get the top dollar for your vehicle is to sell it, yourself, whether it be to a dealership or to a private party. You're going to get the most money and then work your deal accordingly on the new car. So there you are, perfectly positioned at the dealership after you've given this individual a check, right? And now they need a car.
They got money right now. We got a lot of cars.
That's right.
So, and it gives you a nice car too. Like a lot of these cars don't make it to dealerships as trade-ins for reasons. They're proud of them a lot of times for reasons.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of a nicer car, a little bit of a different car that you might not have before. So it works out pretty good.
Sure, sure. What challenges have you faced when buying from a private market?
You got to get a hold of the person. You got to make sure that they're real. You got to line up all the, make sure all the paperwork's proper. You got to set up a time. You got to have a person to kind of walk you all through that. So it's just being able to spend the time and dedicate yourself to, hey, if I'm going to acquire the inventory, this is what I'm going to focus on. And so, in a dealership, there's a lot going on throughout the day. A lot of people are focused on A, B, C, D, E, F. And, buying a car private party doesn't always come the top priority in the day-to-day of a store, right? So you got to just setting up that structure and that infrastructure to be able to do it and do it efficiently and make it a good experience for the customer. So when they're coming to the store, you've asked them the right questions ahead of time. You've planted the seed correctly.
Sure.
Just a lot that goes into it. And so, you can really, VettX provides you with the opportunity to really partner with them. And we call them probably, and they call us probably 20, 30 times a day just to make sure that we'll go on three-way calls just to make sure with the customer that, everything's going to be a smooth experience when they get there.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And it's worked out. Yeah, it's worked out well.
Yeah, that's incredible. So VettX has really helped you with those challenges in a big way to win that customer over, right?
Absolutely. We've grown, but they helped us get going, and they're helping us still today for sure.
Yeah.
I'd say also, it's a timed event, so these people, we're not the only ones reaching out to them. And so if a dealership isn't set up and ready to try to facilitate that transaction quickly, a lot of times that they'll miss out on those opportunities. Wouldn't you agree, Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting fast is the key.
I would imagine salespeople love this as well, because you're bringing in fresh merchandise all the time. As I mentioned earlier, you're also bringing in potential car buyers, but because it can get kind of tiresome for salespeople that just are, you're working off the auction cars, right? And as we know, in the past, customers' cars, to your point, they're usually better kept. People are much more serious about the cars, or they'll bring them in detailed and ready to show, and they're excited about them. And of course, that gets the sales department excited as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all about creating that energy and enthusiasm, and that's a good thing about selling cars. We sell something that gets people excited. And so some of our exit strategies with some of these cars isn't to make a ton of money on every one, but if I can bring in some cars and get some excitement and get a good trade in, at the end of the day, it's going to all wash out, right?
That's right. That's right. And, for a lot of these dealerships, given the current market conditions that dealers are facing right now, do you think that this program is for all size stores, big and small, in terms of putting the focus on this particular market of people?
It can be. I think it's just a matter of mindset. I think buying cars from private parties probably been going around since cars were invented, right?
For sure.
Dealerships have been doing that. It's nothing brand new, but VettX allows you the technology, the software to basically organize everything. They're a partner to kind of help you get going.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, do you really want to commit to it? And so you gotta commit the time and the infrastructure and the people that are going to do it right. And so
and VettX it sounds like you've put together a turnkey package, Nick, right, for the dealer. Because one thing, as a former dealer, I know that's really what you're looking for in a vendor, somebody that's got brought you a proven technique and a proven concept that you're going to support in the way of training. And as you said, you're on the phone maybe 30 times a day, vetting these customers out and making sure it's a real deal. That's pretty strong. You don't really hear that from a lot of customers out there, a lot of vendors out, I should say.
Yeah, I think when the dealer really starts running with this thing and they start seeing the results of buying private party, they start to really take it on themselves and bring some of the things that we do in-house, because now they can actually control what's being bought and the exact mix that they're looking for. And so, we've seen a little bit of a hybrid of both, whether we do it a full turnkey service or, we start to kind of pass the baton to the actual dealership,
right,
where they can take it over and really run with it.
Sure. I can imagine for a high volume dealership, this could be a whole department that's set up, right, Stephen? I mean, you could literally have kind of like CarMax does, where they've got a whole group of people that do nothing but buy cars off the road, and they do very well with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's our goal right now. I mean, that's where we are. We have a whole department, and so I mean, that's our thought process. Is if we don't start doing it now, we're going to be catching up with CarMax and Carvanas later, right? So
that's right.
Go ahead and get ahead of the curve while we can.
Yeah, no question about it. What percentage of the vehicles, what would your target be of the percentage of used car vehicles that you sell? How many do you think, in a perfect world, would come from private parties through VettX?
I mean, I don't discriminate where the car comes from. If I can make money and buy and sell it, I'm fine wherever it comes from, right?
Sure.
But
could it be as much as half of your inventory one day?
Well, yeah. So these past couple months, it has.
Oh wow. Okay.
Pretty close.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I would imagine that these cars experience a greater gross profit. And I'm just spitballing here from my days in automotive retail, but there's so many different charges tacked on, to an auction car, shipping costs, and right down to even the expense to have the buyers out there, on the road doing it. You'll tack on a buy fee or what have you, and in a situation like this, you're free of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no buy fees, and there's definitely pluses and minuses to both. But
also, in the area of reviews, as we know, every customer that leaves a dealership picks up their phone and will give a review about their experience. If they're walking out of a dealership very happy because they have a check in their hand for the vehicle that they just sold, that's one more review that's going to bode well for that dealership, right?
We've gotten several 5-star reviews as a result. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. On the aging side, when I was a used car manager, I tried to minimize my exposure to the auctions, because if I bought 10 cars on a specific day, all of those vehicles turn 30 days and then 60 days on the same day. And the chances of us selling all of those vehicles were tough. If you've got kind of a water drip throughout the month where you're adding, a couple of cars each day or 1 or 2 cars, and that means they're aging, at different intervals, rather than, I bought 10 or 20 cars and guess what? They all age on the 15th of the following month, right?
Right. Yeah. So and that's typically when you buy at auction, you buy in waves.
Yep.
But if you can buy like 2, 3 a day, you don't. And when you buy in waves, like you buy 20 at a time, it doesn't just weigh you down, or you're, as a used car manager, looking at your 10, your buckets, right? But it's also your shop gets weighed down. Oh, hey, Steven just bought 20 cars. We got to get them all through the shop. You got to get them photoed. It just stresses everybody out.
Right.
So if you have that constant flow versus that tsunami coming through, and then
that's right. That's right.
It really helps out. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off when you're a little bit more diversified.
Yeah, and then they get log jammed all together in recon, right? And they sit there for a week. It can get crazy.
Not.
Yeah, no question about it. How are sales, Stephen, at your store? I mean, dealers are reporting pretty strong sales for the last 3 or 4 months. Has that been the case at your stores?
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've been blessed, and we got a really great team of you know, basically our buying center, and everybody at the store. We got great salesmen, great managers. Everybody's bought in, and everybody's just geared up and worked together during COVID for us. I mean, I think as an industry, you know, it kind of got rough for a little bit. We kept buying throughout the shutdown and stuff,
Right.
but
Right.
that paid off. But we've been blessed in our business for sure, compared to others, restaurants or, you know, other industries that haven't been as blessed as us. So, yeah, but we've been doing great. It's fortunate. We've had record breaking months pretty much every month this year.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you find that surprising in the middle of a national pandemic that you've got so many car buyers out in the market, you know, buying vehicles right now?
Yeah, I've been predicting to our sales staff that, you know, that things are going to fall off for 7 consecutive months. And luckily I've been wrong every 7th, right?
Right, exactly. So it's something you want to be wrong about, right?
Yeah, I love being
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, the reason that we wanted to talk to you at VettX, and thanks for bringing Stephen along with you to kind of, you know, support what it is that you were telling us about. We're always trying to bring new innovative ideas, you know, to the forefront here at CBT News, and this is an area that we get a lot of calls about, emails about, text messages, you know, to say, hey, what do you got in the way of used cars? How can I get more of them? Every dealer's out there, much like Stephen, looking for the next used car that they can sell, and it hasn't been real easy. So when we saw your technology and what you bring to the table, you know, we were impressed with it. And this is your second visit on our show. We got great response from the first time that you were on. I got a couple of text messages from my used car buddies that said, have that company on again. I want to learn more about it. For those dealers that do want to know more about your company, what's the next step? Go to your website or have them call you, or what's the deal?
Yeah, you know, our website, VettX.com,
Okay.
we can set up a demo. It's pretty easy to click through.
Okay.
Our phone numbers are on there, so call us at any time.
Okay.
And we have no problem, completely free. We can show you the software and show you how it works and do a market analysis to see, you know, how much opportunity is out in your particular market.
And you'll do that
really
free of charge? They don't have to sign up in order for you to give them the analysis?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So yeah, if they want more information, VettX.com.
Okay, great. And then how long from the time they call to say, hey, I'm interested, to the time that they're up and running?
Yeah, you know, our turnaround time's anywhere from a week to 2 weeks right now.
Okay.
So
they
you know,
better
if they
call
like
if
the
they're
process
interested,
and
right?
sign off. We try to get them up and running as soon as possible. So we're built out and we're ready for, you know, we're ready to handle the, you know, whoever signs up.
Yeah, I'm putting my dealer hat back on again, but I see this as a no-brainer for dealers. Probably Stephen would agree with me on that. It's like, why would you not do this? You know, unless you're CarMax, you know, or Echo Park or something that's already up and running with their programs. But for the average dealer out there that wants to buy cars off, you know, off the road and from private parties, and they're not, you know, schooled in this area, this is really a no-brainer. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Stephen Stearns, used car manager at County Ford in Graham, North Carolina, and Nick Patterson, CEO and co-founder of VettX. That's a company you want to check out, and you've heard a lot about here at CBT News because we've had a lot of success from the dealers that are on the program. We've spoken to them. We've done our vetting of VettX. So thank you, gentlemen, very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching CBT News, the voice of the retail automotive industry. CBT Automotive Network is a part of the JBF Business Media family.